Hey, good morning, Bobby. Quick demo video for you for your KR Sabers Scavenger. As you know, I've had this done for a few days. We just needed to just catch up so that we could do the final sound font package on here. So I got your sound fonts you sent me this morning, total of 10. They're all on here, all programmed a bit differently. All of the sound fonts that had blade styles will have them obviously on the Saber. I think there were like maybe 3 or 4 that came with blade styles, and then on the rest, I did what I thought was best for that particular sound font. Okay. Install the Proffie. This is the Goth Master chassis. So what you want to do is come over here and twist this pommel counterclockwise just a hair, and then pull it straight out. And it'll probably bring the chassis out with you, and that's fine. There is a particular way to take this out, and I'll show you that when we put it back in, because you got to put it in the same way. All right, but when it comes out with the pommel, you can just take it and pull the pommel off. Just be careful with it. Everything's a pretty tight fit. I had to come in on the pommel, which I normally have to do. There's 4 screws down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I take these out, shave them down, put them back in so they're not protruding into here. And then I did have to come in on some of these. I have to do it, take a file and file that little J-lock system a little bit. So if you could see that top part, it's at an angle a bit. I did that with a small hand file on both sides so that it would lock the chassis down. Some of these I have to do it, and some I don't. It just depends. On this one I did. It takes about 2 minutes, so no big deal there. Okay. But here is your chassis. It does have removable battery in it, obviously, but I'm going to leave your battery in. Your battery will need to be charged. This is the brand new one that came with your kit. And I haven't charged it up yet. I've been testing it, and I just haven't charged it. So you want to take this out when you get it. Just give it a full charge because there's a lot of stuff going on. You got a kill switch right here that we'll flip here in a second. Your board is under here, so if you ever do need to get to it, you can just pop this cap off. It's on 4 magnets, right? Just pop it right off. You'll see your Proffie board. I do have a piece of electrical tape right behind the board. There's a lot of wiring that I had to do. There's no way to hide it. And so I just put a piece of electrical tape over it for aesthetics, okay? But most of the time you'll have this on it anyway. You can get to your SD card and your micro USB from right here. You never have to move the board. The board is adhesed down to the chassis so it doesn't move on you. But when you are all done, you just put that, that plate back on. It holds itself together with magnets, and you're good to go there. Moving up, you've got a couple yellow LEDs in this grill section here that will light up. You've got a red LED coming up from that grill section about right here, and then right above that you have another yellow LED. So a total of 4 LEDs there. What I did was wired them all together and wired them to the speaker pad. So these 4 LEDs will react to sound. Like if I turn this on real quick, you'll see them light up because you'll hear the boot sound.
Right. Ray Ho.
You can see how those reacted to sound, and then when the sound was off, they turned off as well. So that's what you'll get there. Moving up from that, you've got your crystal chamber. You've got the crystal that came with the kit. You can open the doors like this. What I do with these doors, because they are kind of flimsy, if you open them up normally, they'll kind of flop around. So what I like to do is I put just a little bit of CA glue on the hinge when I'm building these up. And then because it gives it a little bit of stiffness. So I just put just the tiniest drop will allow me to just give the door that stiffness to where if you open it, it's not going to wiggle around on you, but you can open it all the way. You could close it. You can open them on both sides like that. So you have a full, you've got a full crystal reveal. This crystal has its own NeoPixel accent that's right underneath it. It is programmed separately from the main blade, okay? And then right above the crystal, you have this rotating plasma gate. We can close these back up. So you got a rotating plasma gate right above the crystal. Right here, this entire saber is a 1-button setup. Of course, the 1 button is this cog switch with, and I'll show you that here in a second. But a secondary 1 button has been put right here. So there's a tactile switch right here, so that you can operate this guy outside of the saber and see everything that's going on. And then lastly, you've got, your stock connector that comes with your kit. So if we turn this on,
Right. Ray Ho.
you get the Rey You got the Rey boot up that you wanted on the Scavenger sound font. Now you said you wanted it to start on the Scavenger sound font. That just depends on what font you stop on. All right, but I did program it to be the first font. But if you played with this and then you turn it off on the 8th font and then you went back later and you turn the saber back on, it's going to be on the 8th font. All right, just wanted you to be aware of that. I've got your crystal pulsing there. It is on a timer, just like that, so it timed out, right? If I talk, I'll turn it back off. If I talk too long, or if you don't turn the saber on right away, it'll time out so it doesn't kill your battery. But we'll turn this back on.
Right. Rey Ho.
Now, if we come over here and hit the activation button, hopefully you can see your plasma gate spinning there. You can kind of see it, right here. You can open this up. I know it's super bright, but hopefully you can see that. It does react to the blaster bolt deflex. You can see all your LEDs lit up here. And then hold it to turn it off. And then you can see your plasma gate stopped and you went back to pulsing. I'm going to turn this off for a second and talk about the OS that I put on here. Typically, I'll send these sabers out with OS 6. I'll just use a common config that can be used on OS 5 or 5.9 or whatever. On this particular one and on sabers that have a rotating plasma gate, I've been using OS 5.9. The reason for that is because I found on OS 6, the first time I turn this on and then I turn it back off, the plasma gate keeps spinning. But then if I were to turn the saber on again and turn it off again, the plasma gate stops. For whatever reason, it does not do that on 5.9. So I just loaded this with 5.9. I use the SA22 button prop, but I put a copy of the config file that I used on your SD card. So if you want to go use OS 6 and you want to use the FET263 button prop and have motion controls and stuff like that, you can do that, but just be aware that first time that you turn that saber on and off, that plasma gate will keep spinning. So you'll have to turn it on and then off again. I'm going to have to dive a little bit deeper into that and see what's going on. But for right now, that was my fix for that. Okay, so we'll turn it back on.
Right.
Now,
Rey Ho.
when you put this in the saber, you'll notice there's a groove in your chassis right here, and there's a groove up top here. That is that's for clearance for these two screws. There's a screw down here and a screw up here. So you have to put it in there a certain way, get it all the way in there. You can kind of feel it bounce on the pins a little bit. It gets in there, and then you can come over here and put your pommel on. All right. Those two screws are what holds this pommel on. Put the pommel all the way on and then kind of turn it clockwise and lock it all the way down. And everything is good to go. So we can come over here, and as we turn this cog, we're going to open these gates, right? And it opens so far, and then you have to be fast on the button. And that's what turns it on. So you've got your stock V3 in there firing up like it should. Nice shine through in your windows. Saber's nice and loud. Blaster bolt is just a quick tap on the switch. If you want blade lockup, you have to hold the switch down and hit the saber. It's a little tricky to do, like that. And it'll stay like that until you let go of the switch, just like that. Now to turn it off, we just hold the switch down. All right. I did go through when I disassembled this. I greased down the area where the switch is a little bit to make it a little bit easier on movement. But this is a bit of a unique switch setup. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but I'm sure you'll get it, right? Now up here you've got 4 screws. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up here. Only one of these is a blade retention, and it's this one that I colored with a silver Sharpie. It's 1 millimeter longer than the rest. That's what you use for blade retention. I colored that so that it would kind of match your weathering, and you wouldn't have to guess which 4 of those was your blade retention. Okay, so we'll open this up. It does open up just far enough to accept a 1-inch blade before you turn it on, and you need a flathead screwdriver. So we'll come over here with our flathead, kind of back that out a little bit. And we can put a blade in.
Traitor!
Now, I mean it. These fins open up just enough to accept the blade. And if you open them up just any more, you're going to switch sound fonts like I accidentally just did. Right? So those fins are riding right on the blade. We'll lock this down. So now that we've got that blade in there, I have gone to the next sound font accidentally while putting the blade in, but we'll just turn it on. So you got a nice unstable there. I can go through the sound fonts when the chassis is out of the Saber to show you the crystal, but I wanted to show you that the blade is working, your PCB is working, and everything's looking good. Blade lock up. And hold it to turn it off. Switching sound fonts is just a long press on the switch and letting go.
Rey Skywalker.
I went back on a sound font when I was putting the blade in, so we'll go past this one because this is the one we started on.
Ancient integration.
This is the one that came with the blade style, one of the 4. Right? Do another one. I think this one came in one as well. I forget the name of this one, but it's pretty cool. Big flash on flash. We'll turn this off. Go to another one. This did not come with the blade style, so I gave you a red audio flicker. This is the Emperor sound font. Do another one.
Final steps. Young Rey.
Blade locked up, moving up and down the blade. Turn it off. And we'll take the blade out, and then I'll show you the last few sound fonts with the chassis, because that's kind of like the main focus of the Saber. Okay, we'll take this out, close this up, and then I'm gonna actually, while I've got this out, got your blade plug right here, so I will go ahead and throw this in here now so I don't forget it. I'll come over here again, pop this off. Again, when you're taking this out, you're going to want to line up the screws. I'll show you here in a second. You're going to want to line up those 2 screws that you had to watch out for when you put the chassis in. As you're pulling this out, they line up with these 2 silver rods that you see. These are rods for wire paths. You got one over here, and you've got one over here. Those screws ride right in between them, so that will help you guide it when you pull it out. Okay. But now that we've got this out, we can go to another sound font.
Young Rey.
We just did this one, but we'll turn it on.
Something
One thing I did forget to show you was your soundtrack. So every font has a track. To play that, it's a double tap on the switch when the saber is off. Another double tap to turn it off, just like that. And that's the same on all of them, right? And we'll do one more.
I'm all the Jedi.
So if you look carefully, you got yellow, red, yellow right in there, blue for your crystal, obviously. We'll turn that off, and then I will come over here and just like pull the chassis out so that I can flip the kill switch, and you'll see your crystal die, just like that. And then I'll put this back in here for safekeeping, because that's I'm gonna leave the battery in while I ship it since it has a kill switch. But that is basically your Rey or your Scavenger from KR Sabers. Let me know if you got any questions, and if not, I will package this guy up and hopefully get it out in the mail to you today. All right, thank you.